He's not just hitting him, he's rebranding him. This is next-level bullying. By the time the knights and elders burst in, Lucien is unconscious and frothing at the mouth. The room is in chaos, and Kieran, he's just standing there, blood on his hands, with a smile of pure satisfaction. His father is horrified. His uncle Raphael is furious, grabbing him by the collar. Our tale begins not with a whimper, but with a bang, or rather, a whole symphony of them. The imperial palace is burning, the sky is weeping ash, and the stairs are simply littered with the most unfashionable accessory of the season, corpses. And standing at the top of it all, our tragic hero Kalen, the Emperor's most loyal, most cursed, and most decidedly doomed, mad dog. And climbing out of the inferno to meet him, none other than his oldest, dearest, and currently most annoyed friend, Theron, the leader of this delightful little rebellion. Silver armor, check. Family crest of a blue wolf, absolutely. A face twisted in anguish because his bestie won't just surrender and go get a drink like a normal person, you bet. Surrender, he pleads. Lay down your weapons. Oh, the drama, the emotion. It's enough to make a statue weep. But our Kalen, he just chuckles. He actually chuckles while standing atop a mountain of the deceased. The audacity, the sheer, unadulterated theatricality of it all. I approve. He tells Theron it's impossible, that a dog must guard its house, but oh, the history between these two. Flashback. A young, stubborn nobleman named Theron approaches a young, deadly guardsman named Kalen. Fight me, he says. I've heard you're the best. It was the start of a beautiful sword-clashing friendship. A slave and a duke's son. How positively Shakespearean. But back to the present bloodbath. Kalen reveals the terrible, fabulous T. The Emperor, that bluest, blooded son of a, didn't just mismanage the treasury, oh no. He made a deal with devils. And our poor Kalen, his soul is shackled by the Emperor's nasty black magic, forcing him to fight. Though it seems the connection is weakening, giving our tragic pup just enough wiggle room for one last choice. He raises his sword. Theron powers up with his gorgeous, noble blue mana. Kalen's is a murky, cursed black. They charge, it's a clash of destinies, a ballet of blades. Oh my. Well, that was anticlimactic. Kalen's sword only grazes Theron's shoulder, but Theron's blade, it went right through Kalen's chest. A direct hit. But wait! Why is Theron so angry? He's screaming! Why did you twist your blade? He's crying. It seems our mad dog deliberately missed. He chose his friend over his master. He chose to be the villain in Theron's heroic story. And as he dies in his best friend's arms, he says this is his first real decision. His path to happiness. And his last words? Nothing really. S.O.B. The sheer, unadulterated emo poetry of it all. What a finale! Curtain call. Throw the roses. But wait. What's this? An encore. Kalen's consciousness doesn't fade. He's thinking. He's feeling warmth. Is it hell? Is he being punished for the Emperor's sins? The injustice? And then, a voice. Master, it's a boy. His vision clears. He's being held by a crying man? Who is calling him sin? And then he's passed to another man, an older man with a familiar face. It's Theron. But old. Very old. And this old Theron looks down at baby Kalen and says, our youngest grandson, our little Kieran, formerly the mad dog Kalen, is now 10 years old, and he is wasting absolutely 0 of those years being innocent. He is a menace, a precocious, brilliant, vegetable-hating little demon child, and I adore him completely. His poor history tutor, the esteemed Professor Albus, is his first victim. This man came to teach about the glorious Leston family legacy, and instead finds himself being grilled for classified files on himself. Well, his past self. Kieran is forcing this poor scholar to bring him research on the fallen knight. Kalen Latour, the absolute audacity, the nerve, the theatrical genius of it all, and the public perception of his past life. Oh, it's a tragedy worthy of its own play. They've turned him from a cursed guard dog into a steadfast knight. A tragic figure of unwavering loyalty. They've whitewashed his miserable death into a noble sacrifice, and our little Kieran is furious about it. He thinks it's his dear old Grandpa Theron's idea of a posthumous punishment, to forever memorialize him as a stuffy, honorable knight when he just wanted to die and be forgotten. The pettiness, I can feel it radiating off him in waves. But the best part, the absolute best part, he's using his new family's power and influence to dig up his own past. He's a 10-year-old mob boss of historical research. I'll put in a good word with my father, he says. The manipulation, the power plays. He's not just accepting this new life, darlings. He's learning how to work it. And speaking of his father, meet Ronan. Oh, Ronan, you sweet, sweet summer child. You have no idea the primordial force of chaos you have sired. He's just a loving, worried dad, fretting that his son might not awaken the family's magical blue mana and be cast aside like he was. Oh, the dramatic irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. His son isn't just going to awaken the family mana. He's already a master of death and betrayal in child's body. And Kieran? He sees it. He sees his father's insecurity, and, in a moment that is both genuinely sweet and horrifyingly calculated, he tells him, I respect you. He tells him it's good that he's not like his own legendary father, Theron. Because it's true! In his past life, Kaelin saw Ronan as a child and thought he was nothing like the bombastic halo. And he meant it as a compliment. The layers, the history, my heart can't take it. But then, the cherry on top of this delicious, chaotic cake, the awakening ceremony is in 2 weeks, Grandpa Theron is coming home. The man who killed him is returning to see the grandson, who houses the soul of his oldest friend. And what does our little villainous protagonist say? I've got everything planned. He says it with a smile, a sweet, innocent, 10-year-old smile that promises absolute and utter mayhem. He's going to make his grandfather's retirement a living nightmare, and I am here for every single second of it. Let's set the scene, shall we? While dear Papa Ronan is sweating bullets over the upcoming awakening ceremony, terrified his son will be a dud like him. What is our precious little protagonist doing? Is he nervous? Is he practicing his etiquette? No! He's lying on his bed, sighing. And then, whoosh! He's casually summoning the legendary azure mana like it's nothing. The very mana he coveted in his past life, the symbol of his best friend's noble bloodline, is now dancing at his fingertips. And he's had it for 3 years. The absolute nerve, the sheer, unmitigated gall. He's been hiding a divine-level power up since he was 7. And why? Not out of modesty, oh no, because the mana practice methods he knows from his past life are the forbidden, devil-tainted arts of the Imperial Guards. He can't use them without raising a million questions. So what does he do? He gets a mana stone and starts practicing in secret, like a tiny blue-eyed sorcerer. He's not just preparing, he's doing advanced mana cardio while everyone else is still learning to crawl. But his goal? It is chef's kiss, perfectly petty and glorious. He doesn't want to just reveal himself. That would be too simple, too boring. He wants to get stronger than his grandfather, the legendary hero Theron. And then, right before the old man kicks the bucket, he'll lean in and whisper, It's me. I'm your grandson. Also, your dramatic retelling of my death was tacky, and I hated it. He wants his revenge to be a perfectly timed, emotionally devastating punchline. I have never respected a fictional 10-year-old more in my life. But wait, there's more. His ultimate goal isn't just to annoy his grandpa. He's going to hunt down every single devil that ever made a deal with the Emperor and turn them into cosmic dust. The ambition, the scale. This isn't a second chance at life. It's a personal crusade wrapped in a family drama delivered by a smirking child. Cut to the family train ride to the main estate. And even this is a flex. The train, a marvel of modern magic, was pioneered by his father, Ronan. The black sheep of the family is actually a business and logistics genius who funded the Empire's technological revolution. The irony is so delicious. The son who was cast out for lacking martial talent is the one financially propping up the entire noble structure. And Kieran knows it. He's proud of his dad. It's a genuinely sweet moment amidst all the scheming. But of course it can't last. They arrive at the main house and are greeted by the ancient butler, Gunther, another ghost from Kieran's past. This man used to clean up after Theron's messes, and now he's greeting his master's reincarnated best friend as a child. The layers, the history. And as Papa Ronan gets more and more tense, fearing the judgment and sneers of his family, our little agent of chaos is vibrating with excitement. His internal monologue isn't one of fear, it's of pure, unadulterated opportunity. Unfortunately for Fail, the possibility of their visit to the main family going smoothly was 0. After all, if nothing happened, I'll make sure something does. He says it with his chest. He is going to walk into the lion's den and poke the lions with a stick, because it sounds like a fun Tuesday. He dreams of being the biggest troublemaker the ducal family has ever seen. Bath. Our precious Chaos Prince, Kieran, has been in the main estate for approximately 5 minutes and has already committed attempted cousin-side. I am so proud. The scene, Azure Ocean Castle, dripping with history and the very Azure mana our boy now commands. But while his poor sweet father Ronan is off doing boring adult things, Kieran is immediately ambushed by his cousin, the smug, condescending Lucian. This little twerp waltzes in, dismisses the servants, and immediately starts throwing shade. He calls Ronan, the business genius who funds this entire family, pathetic and a disgrace for being obsessed with money. Oh, the foolish, foolish child. He came to probe and intimidate. What he got was a masterclass in psychological and physical warfare. Kieran doesn't even flinch. He just smiles that terrifying, innocent smile and calls Lucian a budding troublemaker. He's not offended, he's impressed, and also deeply threatened that someone might challenge his rightful title as family menace. And then, the reveal! Lucien, thinking he's so mighty with his awakened mana, suggests a duel. And what does Kieran do? He punches him in the gut before he can finish his sentence. No monologuing, no posturing, just pure, efficient violence. The shock on Lucien's face when he realizes Kieran's fist is glowing with the azure mana he's supposedly here to awaken. Chef's kiss. I've had it for quite a while. He says it so casually. He's been hiding a superpower for years and he reveals it by beating the arrogance out of a 12-year-old. The sheer drama of it. But it gets better. He doesn't stop there. He covers Lucien's mouth so he can't scream and proceeds to give him a one-sided beating, all while delivering a villainous monologue about how he will be the sole troublemaker of the Leston family. He's not just defending his father's honor, he's eliminating the competition. He's literally assigning his cousin a new role. For every troublemaker, there's a noble gentleman. I think you'll fit that role quite well. He's not just hitting him, he's rebranding him. This is next-level bullying. By the time the knights and elders burst in, Lucien is unconscious and frothing at the mouth. The room is in chaos, and Kieran, he's just standing there, blood on his hands, with a smile of pure satisfaction. His father is horrified. His uncle Raphael is furious, grabbing him by the collar. And how does our 10-year-old demon lord respond? He meets his uncle's rage with an unblinking stare and a polite, "Pleased to meet you, uncle." Then he throws Raphael's own hypothetical question right back in his face. The nerve, the absolute breathtaking gall. But the piece de resistance, the final twist. The ancient butler Gunther arrives with a summons. The Duke himself has called for them. The head of the family, the legendary hero Theron, wants to see his youngest grandson and his son immediately. And as Ronan's soul practically leaves his body in terror, Kieran smiles. He takes his father's hand and says, "I'm excited." He is excited. To meet the man who killed him in his past life. After just putting that man's other grandson in the medical wing, the stage is set for the most awkward, tense, and potentially explosive family meeting in the history of ever. Shh! Do you hear that, my darlings? That is the sound of a master manipulator at work. The grand reunion we've all been waiting for has finally happened, and it did not disappoint. Our little wolf pup Kieran has just faced down the old alpha, Theron himself, and he didn't just survive, he absolutely thrived. The setting, the tiger's den, Theron's office, a place of immense pressure and gravitas, and our boy walks in, holding his terrified father's hand, without a single drop of fear in his tiny, magnificent body. The old hero is there, all white hair and robust physique, trying to look imposing. But Kieran, he sees right through it. His internal monologue is already snarking. As he got older, he just got better at putting on airs. The disrespect, the sheer, unadulterated audacity. I am living for it. Theron begins the interrogation. Why did he hide his mana? Why did he beat his cousin to a pulp? And Kieran's answers? A masterclass in psychological warfare? He reveals he's had the azure mana for 3 years, with the casualness of someone describing their breakfast. And when asked how he hid it, he doesn't just answer, he counterattacks. He innocently asks why the knights at his branch mansion were so incompetent compared to the main families. He's not just defending himself, he's exposing the family's neglect of his father right to the Duke's face. The nerve! But the true masterpiece is over cousin Lucian. Theron has the bruised and bandaged boy brought in to confirm the story. And what does the terrified Lucien do? He confirms every single word of Kieran's slightly exaggerated story. Why? Because he is more terrified of the 10-year-old demon who beat him senseless than he is of the legendary hero. The power dynamic is already shifting. Kieran has established dominance without throwing a single punch in that room. And Theron, he sees it all. He knows his grandson is cunning, audacious, and brilliant. He's not even angry, he's fascinated. He's trying to be stern, but you can see the pride and intrigue sparkling in his eyes. This is exactly the kind of chaotic energy his own youthful self would have adored. Then comes the question of the century. What do you want to be when you grow up? And Kieran, the little genius, doesn't give a direct answer. He says he'll reveal it after the awakening ceremony because only then will he truly be part of the family. It's a subtle, heartbreaking dig at how his branch of the family has been treated, and it hits Theron right in the guilt complex. It's manipulation so smooth it's practically silk. The meeting ends with a postponed punishment and a subtle warning from Theron that his grandfatherly favor only goes so far. But the message is clear. Kieran has passed the test. He's not in trouble. He's on the radar. And the final scene? Theron alone, telling his butler Gunther to send a priest and doctor to check on Kieran because he's worried he might be carrying emotional scars from being too mature. He's worried he's not innocent enough. He's not punishing him. He's trying to therapy the cunning out of him. The irony is so thick you could swim in it. The old hero is officially intrigued, impressed, and already playing favorites. The awakening ceremony is no longer just a test of power. It's Kieran's debutante ball, and the entire family is about to witness a star being born, or a supernova ready to explode. The tension is palpable. The drama is exquisite. We find our brilliant boy lying in bed, actually introspecting. He's reflecting on his reunion with Grandpa Theron, and is utterly shook by the old man's power. Theron's mana isn't just strong, it's a transcendent, oceanic force of nature. Our Kieran, who was a top-tier 8-star knight in his past life, realizes he's now staring up at a mountain he couldn't even see the peak of before. The awe, the respect, the burning competitive fire it lights in his little heart. He's not jealous, he's inspired. He sees a path to power he could never walk as Kaelin, and he is ready to sprint down it. But the best part? His entire disastrous first day was a calculated masterstroke. He didn't just beat up his cousin Lucien out of rage, he did it to capture Theron's attention. And it worked! He's got the old hero fascinated. Now, all he has to do is absolutely ace this ceremony, and he'll have the greatest trainer on the continent wrapped around his little finger, the long-term planning, the audacity. But wait, a tender moment interrupts our scheming. Papa Ronan, smelling slightly of wine, relatable, comes to check on his son. He admits he's always known Kieran was different. Too mature, keeping secrets. But he doesn't press. He just offers his unconditional love and support. I will always stand behind you. S.O.B. The pure, wholesome goodness of this man is the perfect foil to our little agent of chaos. Kieran is genuinely touched. This family's love is the one thing his calculated heart didn't expect and doesn't take for granted. Cut to the next morning. The rumors have spread. The main household is terrified of the new little monster in their midst. Servants scatter like leaves. And Kieran? He tells his father it's all going according to plan. He'd rather be feared than underestimated. He's building a reputation not just for himself, but to protect his father's honor, the complexity. Then, the most awkward family breakfast in history. The uncles are seething, Cousin Lucienne is traumatized, and Aunt Leona is just curious. The tension is so thick you could serve it with a side of eggs. And then Theron drops the bombshell. The awakening ceremony is happening today, this afternoon. No 2-week preparation. He's moving the schedule up because he's too impatient to see what his intriguing grandson will do. And Kieran? He's thrilled. He was hoping for this. He wants to shake this family to its foundations, and he's got the perfect bomb to do it. Himself. The stage is set. The audience is hostile, and the prodigy is ready to perform. The pledge stone awaits. What world will he see? What weapon will he manifest? And just how spectacularly will he show up every single one of his doubting relatives? The anticipation is killing me. It's time for the main event. Don't you dare look away. Oh my. It seems the ancient magic has a truly wicked sense of humor, or perhaps it sees right into the very core of a soul. For the new world, it shows him, is no world at all. It is a memory, a nightmare. It is the blood-soaked staircase of the imperial palace, littered with the corpses of his past life. The very place where Kaelin met his end. The sheer, breathtaking audacity of this test, to force him to walk through his own personal hell. The drama, the tragedy, it's exquisite. But our boy doesn't flinch. He doesn't shut his eyes. He walks. Step by gruesome step, he ascends that staircase, acknowledging each fallen comrade with a whispered apology. He is not running from his past. He is confronting it. He steps right over the spot where he died and does what he never could in his first life. He enters the throne room. And there it is. Not a glittering new weapon, but a ghost from his past. Embedded in the throne is Lewin, his cursed sword, the very extension of his damned existence, the instrument of his slavery. The voice of the pledge stone tells him to infuse it with his azure mana, to reclaim it, to make it his own again. And he hesitates. Of course he does. To touch that sword is to touch the misery of the life he so desperately wants to leave behind. The fear is palpable. But then he gets it. He understands. This entire ceremony isn't about power. It's about conquering your fears. His grandfather's final words weren't just a warning. They were the key. And with a hollow laugh at the poetic justice of it all, he does it. He places his hand on the hilt of his past and pours his new, pure, free mana into it. The azure light doesn't just fill the sword, it consumes the entire world. He didn't just find a weapon, my darlings. He accepted his past. He reconciled the slave with the noble. He took the symbol of his curse and is in the process of transforming it into a symbol of his liberation. The psychological depth, the narrative perfection. I am in awe. What will this reborn sword become? What will the family make of a weapon that should not exist? The anticipation is agonizing. But what did he bring back from his trip down memory lane? Oh, just a little something called guillotine. The execution sword, just the legendary, mythically forgotten, demon-beheading blade of the first ancestor that is so terrifying. It was literally erased from history. No big deal. And the voice guiding him, just your friendly neighborhood blue dragon from the North Sea. Apparently the Leston family has a guardian dragon on retainer, and it is very invested in our little troublemaker's future. The lore, the world building, it's all coming together. But the best part? The reactions. Grandpa Theron shooketh. He recognizes the sword instantly, and his face goes more serious than a tax audit. He knows this isn't just a cool new toy, it's a destiny. A promise to eradicate demons that his first ancestor failed to keep. The weight of that legacy just landed squarely on Kieran's 10-year-old shoulders. And the uncles. Oh, the uncles are sweating. Uncle Dale's, the almost 8-star powerhouse, feels a chill of fear just looking at the sword. Uncle Raphael is speechless with rage and confusion. The family dynamics have officially been nuked from orbit. The carefully built succession war between the first and second son is now a 3-way battle with a dark horse candidate who holds a sword that stares into your soul. But through it all, our boy is hungry. Father, I'm hungry, he says. After shattering an ancient artifact and becoming the chosen one of a mythical dragon, his primary concern is getting a stake. The absolute king. The stage is set for an epic power struggle. The elders are whispering, the uncles are scheming, and Theron is watching it all with a mix of pride and dread. Kieran has the sword, the destiny, and the dragon's favor. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Everything could go wrong, and it's going to be glorious to watch. He meets his great-aunt. Excuse me, the magnificent Lady Aurelia, the White Wolf, and she is not what you'd expect. She's not a kindly old granny. She's a blue-haired, mana-rejuvenated powerhouse who looks like she's in her late 20s and could bench press a horse. She doesn't like being called great aunt because, darling, who would? She's fabulous. And who else is in detention? I mean, class? Why, it's his traumatized cousin, Lucian, the boy who learned the hard way not to insult Kieran's father. He's trying so hard to be brave, but one look from our little Chaos Lord and he practically vibrates with fear. The tension is delicious. Lady Aurelia begins the lesson. She explains the ocean dominance arts, building seas of mana within yourself, with Grandpa Theron being the only one in the Empire to have merged them all into one transcendent ocean. It's a fascinating system. Kieran is locked in, focused, determined to reach that pinnacle he could never touch in his past life. She tells them to close their eyes, to gently draw up their azure mana, to guide it through their pathways. She's about to warn them that it's difficult for beginners, that it takes time and patience, when Kieran absolutely ignores the instructions and goes full throttle. Whoosh! An explosion of azure mana erupts from him like a tidal wave. The training hall is suddenly filled with a raging ocean of power. Lady Aurelia is cut off mid-sentence, her eyes wide with shock. Lucienne is probably blown against the back wall. He didn't just draw up his mana, he unleashed the entire sea. All because he's been secretly practicing for years with a mana stone. This isn't a beginner's first step. This is a graduate-level thesis presentation. The preparation, the sheer, unmitigated gall. The look on Aurelia's face says it all. She's not seeing a student, she's witnessing a natural disaster in a child's body. This is the vast, uncharted sea Theron warned her about, and it's already making landfall. What will she do? How will she possibly teach someone who starts at the finish line? And poor Lucien, will he ever recover from the psychological damage? And his instructor, none other than the legendary commander of the Azure Wolves, Zerath Winterguard, an 8-star knight, a man whose mere presence screams, "I could defeat an army before breakfast." And how does our boy react? With awe-inspired respect, nervous trembling? Please. He sizes him up like he's checking out the competition. The audacity. I adore it. But Commander Zerath lays down the law immediately. No special treatment, no young master titles until he's earned it. And most importantly, gasp, he's taking away his sword. The glorious, terrifying guillotine is being benched. He's being given a wooden practice sword, the indignity. But does Kieran throw a fit? Does he pout? Of course not. He shrugs it off like it's nothing. He's more comfortable without the fancy title anyway. The sheer, unbothered king energy is off the charts. And then he walks into the training ground. And oh, the drama of it all. Every single knight stops what they're doing to stare. The air is thick with tension, anticipation, jealousy, curiosity. It's a whole emotional symphony directed at our 10-year-old protagonist. This is his initiation, his trial by silent judgment. But Kieran? He feels reassured. He looks at these fierce warriors, the very same ones who stormed the palace and ended his past life. And instead of fear, he feels a profound sense of camaraderie. The enemies of his past are the protectors of his future. The poetic irony is so thick you could swim in it. He doesn't cower. He strides forward with a confident smile, ready to earn his place among them. The wolves are watching, and the pup is ready to play. That's right. The montage is over. 3 years have passed in the blink of a beautifully dramatic eye. And what a 3 years it's been. Our boy Kieran has been busy. He's not just swinging a sword, he's been utterly devouring his training. Under the fierce and fabulous eye of the White Wolf, Lady Aurelia, his control over his monstrous azure mana has gone from a raging tsunami to a slightly less raging tsunami that he can actually steer progress. And under the stern gaze of Commander Zerath, his swordsmanship has sharpened to a lethal point. He's been using those weighted artifacts like they're going out of style, building a body that would make a veteran knight weep with envy. The dedication, the sheer will. But has all this hard work made him humble? Oh, please, this is Kieran we're talking about. He's more insufferable than ever, and we love him for it. His poor cousin Lucien is still his primary victim. The dynamic is perfect. Kieran, the brilliant, smirking menace, and Lucien, the perpetually flustered straight man who has somehow become his reluctant, and let's be honest, only friend. They bicker, they train, and Lucien lives in a constant state of awe and terror. It's comedy gold. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. The uncles, Dales, and Raphael are still scheming in the shadows, watching Kieran's meteoric rise with pure, unadulterated jealousy. The tension in the castle is thicker than the plot of a bad romance novel. And the biggest twist of all, Grandpa Theron, is sick. That's right. The legendary hero, the transcendent powerhouse, is hiding a weakening condition. The pillars of the world are shaking, my darlings, and only a select few know the truth. Why does this matter? Because the time for the family's annual tournament is nearing. A tournament where the young wolves of the Leston family prove their strength and valor. It's the perfect stage for our boy to officially declare his dominance and shatter every expectation. The stakes? Higher than ever. With Theron's health a secret, the succession war is about to boil over. Kieran's performance won't just be for glory. It could determine the very future of the ducal family. He's no longer just a troublemaker. He's a political earthquake waiting to happen. He's been sharpening his claws for 3 years, and now it's time to see what this wolf can really do. The stage is set. The players are in position. The drama is poised to reach a fever pitch. The scene? A letter home. And what does it contain? Not mere updates on his stellar progress. Oh no, it's a masterclass in manipulation. He casually drops that he's reached a 4-star mastery, a feat that would take decades for normal people. He's rewriting history. And then, with the grace of a diving hawk, he swoops in to ask his poor, sweet father Ronan for more allowance. The financial audacity. He is funding his chaos empire. And the nicknames. The knights don't call him young master. They call him the Mad Puppy, a direct descendant of the legendary Mad Dog herself, his glorious Aunt Aurelia. It's not an insult. It's a badge of honor he wears with pride. He's not just accepted. He's feared. The uncles are shaking in their boots, too terrified to make a move against the little wolf who bites back. But the true masterpiece of this chapter, the breakfast scene. He sits there, breaking bread, with his formidable Aunt Aurelia, when his nemesis, Aunt Camilla, the mother of his traumatized cousin, Lucienne, dares to approach. She's seething with 3 years of pent-up rage, forced to smile through gritted teeth. And how does our magnificent protagonist handle her? With the most devastating weapon in his arsenal, polite, casual, absolutely devastating truth. She offers him a history lesson with a tutor, and he dismisses it because he'd already finished the entire curriculum with the Empire's top historian when he was 7. The look on her face, the sheer, silent fury. He doesn't need to raise his voice. His accomplishments are a slap in the face all on their own. But wait! There's more! A shadow looms on the horizon. Papa Ronan has discovered a dangerous drug koken being smuggled onto their lands. And worse, monsters and fiends, remnants of the old Emperor's reign, are stirring in the west. The plot thickens. Danger approaches. The stage is set for our mad puppy to sink his teeth into something far bigger than family squabbles. Intrigue, smuggling, ancient evils returning, the drama is reaching a fever pitch. Let's check in on the family, shall we? First, poor Lucienne is stuck between a rock and a hard place, specifically between his seething mother, Camilla, and his terrifyingly brilliant cousin. Camilla is desperately trying to fuel a rivalry that simply does not exist. She wants Lucienne to see Kieran as competition, but the poor boy knows better. He's seen the sun, and he knows he's just a firefly. The resignation, the drama. But while the family squabbles, our main attraction is on the training grounds, putting a fully grown knight through the ringer. That's right, Kieran is sparring with Hans, a squad leader of the Azure Wolves, and he's winning with a wooden sword. He's so strong he's breaking training swords on the man's armor. The power, the sheer, unadulterated gall. And his trash talk is absolutely impeccable. Your muscles are like balloons, he says. The disrespect, I am living for it. But beneath the teasing, there's a real bond here. Hans is one of the few who can keep up with Kieran's chaotic energy, and he confirms what we all know. Our boy is ready for real missions. He's reached 4-star mastery. He's a powerhouse waiting to be unleashed. But of course, Kieran can't just wait for an assignment to be given to him. Oh no, he has to go and find trouble himself. And trouble arrives in the form of a worried-looking noble from the neighboring Belarus barony, a place plagued by bandits, and, as we know from Papa Ronan's investigation, a possible drug smuggling operation. So what does our magnificent chaos magnet do? He decides to personally welcome the visiting noble. He, a 13-year-old, is going to insert himself into a diplomatic situation because the adults are busy. His reasoning. There are certain rules of etiquette among nobles. The audacity, the hypocrisy. He who regularly terrorizes his cousins and breaks swords on knights is suddenly an expert in etiquette. I am cackling. Hans can only sigh in despair, already drafting the apology report to Commander Zerath in his head. He knows that wherever Kieran goes, beautiful, beautiful trouble follows. What will Kieran discover? Will he stumble into the drug plot? Will he take on the bandits single-handedly? The stage is set for our mad puppy to sink his teeth into a real mission. That's right! He's cornered the poor distressed Baron Caspian of Belarus and is grilling him about bandits and drug smuggling like a tiny blonde detective. And he's so compelling, the Baron just spills everything. The power this boy holds is absolutely terrifying. But the best part, the moment of sheer panic when Commander Valerius walks in, the look on his face, he's not even surprised anymore, it's just pure, resigned exhaustion. Please stop picking up bad habits from Lady Seraphina, he says, the long-suffering sigh of a man who has long since accepted his fate. I am cackling. Of course, Kieran immediately volunteers for the mission to crush the bandits. And of course, Valerius says no, it's too dangerous. He'd rather send him to fight monsters. But our boy? He doesn't take no for an answer. He whips out his secret weapon. Emotional manipulation. He suggests making it a memorable outing with his glorious great-aunt, Lady Seraphina. And she falls for it, hook, line, and sinker. She's so touched he wants to make memories with her that she agrees to chaperone a bandit hunting trip. The sheer tactical brilliance. He's playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. And he doesn't stop there. He drags his poor, traumatized cousin Lucien along for the ride. Lucienne is complaining, trying to back out, but Lady Seraphina isn't having it. She steamrolls over his stammering with talk of azure wolf spirit and vile people until he just gives up and accepts his fate. The poor boy is being voluntold for a life-changing field trip. The stage is set, my darlings. A legendary warrior, a prodigy menace, and his reluctant sidekick are about to ride into a barony crawling with trained bandits. This isn't a simple mission, it's a bonding experience. What could possibly go wrong? Everything could go wrong, and it's going to be magnifique. But first, let's rewind to that glorious train ride. Our magnificent Lady Seraphina is dispensing life lessons like a vengeful goddess. If you can't kill, you'll be killed, she tells a visibly queasy Lucien. The mentorship, the sheer, unadulterated edge, I am living for it. And then, the moment we've all been waiting for, with 20 minutes left on the clock, she decides she's bored of the conversation. What does she do? She opens the window of a moving train and just leaps out into the wilderness. No warning, no dramatic music, just a casual, I'll be watching. And she's gone. The audacity, the power, the absolutely zero regard for basic transportation safety. I have never been more inspired. And the boys' reactions? Priceless. Lucien is horrified. Kieran is utterly unfazed, already planning to try it himself someday. The dichotomy, the sheer difference in their brain chemistry. Poor Baron Caspian is having a full-blown existential crisis, questioning every life choice that led him to this moment. But the drama doesn't stop there. They arrive in Belrus Barony, and oh, the atmosphere. It's bleak, it's depressing, the air smells of despair and neglected garbage. The people are shuffling husks of their former selves. It's a far cry from the gleaming halls of Azure Ocean Castle, and even Lucien has a moment of clarity, realizing how privileged his life has been. Character development in the middle of a bandit hunt. And through it all, Kieran remains focused. His sword guillotine is vibrating with bloodlust. It knows a fight is coming. It's hungry. He brushes off the Baron's apologies and pleasantries and demands to see the injured lord immediately. No time for rest, no time for tea. There are bandits to crush and a mission to complete. The stage is set for a glorious reckoning. The mad puppy is on the hunt, and he's brought his reluctant cousin along for the ride. What will they find in the castle? Traitors? Lies? A bedridden lord with a tale of woe? Our scene opens in the sick room of the noble, wounded Baron Belrus. He's kind, he's worried, he's everything a good lord should be, and he's trying to protect our little wolves from a dangerous mission. How sweet, how utterly dull. But our Kieran will have none of it. He doesn't just refuse the coddling, he flexes on the poor man. I've reached 4-star, he says, casually, as if he's commenting on the weather. The Baron is shooketh. The prodigy has arrived, and he is not here to be swaddled. But the true master stroke, his reason for charging headfirst into danger, one of my dreams is to live a long life. The irony, the audacity. He says it with a straight face while planning to walk into a bandit den. I am cackling. Cut to the mountain hike with their guide, the slimy, traitorous Sven. And oh, does Kieran see right through him. He plays the part of the clueless, trusting noble child to perfection. He even hands over his legendary sword to the man. The absolute confidence, the unshakable belief that he is always the most dangerous person in any room. And of course, the trap is sprung. The bandits reveal themselves. Their leader is cold, efficient, and immediately kills the greedy Sven. A brutal display meant to intimidate our young heroes. But does it work? On Lucien? Perhaps, but on Kieran? Oh, please. He just smiles and asks for his sword back. And when the youngest bandit foolishly draws it, the true terror is unleashed. Guillotine is revealed, and its mere presence freezes these hardened men solid with primal fear. The atmosphere shifts from a bandit ambush to a horror movie, and Kieran is the villain. And then, the piece de resistance! With emotion so swift it's almost casual, Kieran reclaims his blade and delivers Guillotine's first kill. Congratulations, you're Guillotine's first customer. He says it with a smile. The chill, the theatrics, it's perfection. The message is clear. The prey they thought they were hunting was the apex predator all along. The game is over before it even began. Our scene, the mountain fortress. Our captive heroes have been led inside by the trembling, urine-soaked traitor Urhan. And oh, The reception committee is just wonderful. Undead. A whole army of them rising from the ground, clattering and moaning. It's not a bandit hideout, it's a necromancer's tea party. And the mana? That familiar, vile, devil-tainted dark mana that our dear Kieran knows all too well from his cursed past life. It's not just any mage up here, it's a dark mage. The very same flavor of evil that served the malevolent emperor. The connections are being made, my darlings. The web of intrigue is stretching all the way back to the main plot. But is our magnificent protagonist worried? Terrified? Please? He's excited.